Coping with COVID and holiday stress. Ways to support ourselves and our children. Hi, I'm Anna Meehan, the lead Glade-Run school-based clinician with North Allegheny School District. I'm here today to talk about ways to manage holiday stress, particularly this year when it's compounded with the negative emotions we are all experiencing related to the COVID-19 pandemic. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy, and that we can work together to support our students' academic well-being through addressing their emotional and behavioral health needs. Can you believe it's December already? And we're pretty much almost all the way through it. The holidays are here once again, and for some, if not most of us, we will be experiencing them and celebrating differently. Each of you is considering the changes that may have to take place within your family routines in order to maintain physical and social safety. It's important to acknowledge all of your feelings related to this current holiday season as valid, the positive and the negative. Some challenges you may be experiencing may include changes in routine, breaks in the continuity of your child's learning, breaks in the continuity of healthcare, missed significant life events, and loss of security or safety. One of the most important skills in managing ourselves, and then vicariously modeling that for our children, is to acknowledge how we are personally affected. Though nothing was done to us personally or with specific intent, we do have a personal relationship with these events of our lives that have been impacted. But how the stress impacts us and how we manage our own distress impacts our children and their ability to cope with their own. So let's take a look at Maslow. Maslow's hierarchy builds on the foundation that we cannot move to a higher level of functioning until the lower needs are met. Meaning, we are not able to focus on getting that promotion or raise at work if we don't have food to put on the table at night or a safe place to sleep. Our basic physiological needs must be met in order to successfully address safety, and so on up the pyramid. In our current environment, with the constant changes that are being placed, it becomes difficult to navigate this hierarchy. We are constantly looking at our children and students to improve their functioning in the love, belonging, and esteem levels when they may actually be stuck farther down. Stress impacts our cognition, and cognition impacts our emotions and behaviors. We need to be sure that our students' needs are met, especially the needs of addressing the coping mechanisms when situations continue to present as out of their control. So, how is this impacting me and what am I feeling? It's two great questions that we should really allow ourselves the space to sit back and reflect. Your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors all impact the other. This is what we call fluidity. It is not a formula set in stone, but it fluctuates. Your thoughts of my student is failing and not logging on to school, or how am I supposed to provide a normal Christmas when my hours at work were cut? These can result in feelings of stress, anger, anxiety, and grief, which can in turn affect our behaviors. So, lashing out at our spouses or children, avoidance even. You may have experienced something similar to this cycle at any point in your life. Recognizing within yourself what you are feeling and thinking of the situation and trying to change your thoughts and behaviors is the first step in modeling a sense of control and normalcy for your child. But our kids? What is normal for a teenager? And what is normal for a teenager during a pandemic? Today, more students, families, and school staff than ever before are experiencing increased levels of stress, anxiety, and isolation, and will need some level of mental health support. When things are uncertain, our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors can reflect these changes, and we can tend to look for things that can be controlled. But children and teens can struggle with this especially. The following behaviors are common, but not all-encompassing. The reason I say anticipated and not normal is that we have no other experience to compare these to. What is normal after all? Are we as the adults managing this pandemic quote-unquote normally? The last pandemic we really have to compare this to is from 1918, and I don't think that my great-grandmother or great-great-grandmother was handling the experience the same way that teens are today. What is important to remember regarding mental health is if negative emotions, thoughts, behaviors begin to impact our daily functioning, that's when it's time to look for help. So if you're recognizing these symptoms in your child and they continue to persist for 2 or more weeks or are very significant changes from their typical behavior, it may indicate that your child or teen could use your help in managing what they are feeling. It may be time to ask for help. So how can I help my child take control? Set boundaries for yourself and their schedule. Allow them breaks for both physical movement and mental breaks. Know your role in the situation and that sometimes we can take on more than we can manage, and it is okay to say no. Believe me, I know that one is very difficult. Have making connections be your #1 priority. Make time for family, friends, by slowing down and thinking about how each day brings a chance for talking and doing something together. Separating out what you can and cannot control. The human mind seeks certainty and control, yet it may be impossible in the current environment. So focus on the things you can, how you treat others, what you eat and drink, and even the amount of time that you spend worrying. Keeping COVID in mind, there are separate stress reducers to consider that may target the added pressures on our families. First and foremost, bring your concerns to a trusted individual, including your child. Make them a part of this process. Talk to them about how they are feeling, how this change is impacting them. And when they don't want to talk to you because you're the grown-up and the parent, reach out to your school's counselor, therapist, relative, clergyman, any trusted individual in your life. There are also many agencies, both locally and nationally, that can be accessed when need for support turns into crisis. Some ways that you can maintain mental health first aid include maintain a daily routine with consistent sleep, activity, study patterns, stay connected with others, and find moments of humor. Give yourself permission to stop worrying. Eat breakfast every morning, have nutritious snacks, limit coffee and energy drinks as these may increase feelings of anxiety. Look for patterns and be aware of your worries. Be aware of triggers and attempt positive self-talk. Deep breathing, meditation, exercise. Relieve times of high anxiety with physical activity. Avoid withdrawing, isolating, sitting, and worrying. And limit the amount of time you spend talking about or watching and listening to the news or social media. Find the amount of information that is healthy for you to know and be at peace with moving on. So some resources that can help your child build a toolbox of safe and effective coping skills have been provided here. Some resources for staying physically active, making time for mental rest, coping with big thoughts, and recognizing when coping is healthy and when it starts to become unhealthy. So when we feel we have exhausted all of our own options and that our students' behaviors or emotions have continued to experience challenges with little to no improvement, it's time to reach out for support. I've provided information here for the Resolve 24-hour hotline, the text line, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and teenline.org, along with access to great resources from Trails Wellness, Teen Mental Health, and some more information on Glade Run School Based with North Allegheny School District. North Allegheny has numerous resources at your disposal for support, so please contact your child's counselor to discuss options for a SAP referral or a Glade Run referral. We are all in this together, and asking for help is the first step. So thank you so much for following along. I hope you take some time to access some of these resources and sit down with your child over this break and assess better ways to move forward in the spring coming back from this nice and much needed break. So please stay safe and healthy this holiday and feel free to reach out with any questions that you may have.